Welcome back to Scale Auto Guys Workbench. Today I'm working on one more of the Tri-Five Chevys, and that one would be the 55 Chevy Bel Air Sedan. This one comes with 157 parts. You can build it stock or street rod, or maybe something a little bit in between like I usually do. Here's the on the box, the stock version of the car. Pretty nice looking decal sheet. We'll take a look at that up close here in just a little bit. It shows on the box that you just get 2 different sets of wheels. This one comes with 3. And I'll show you those in just a little bit. A lot of chrome parts. A lot of chrome parts in this kit. So let's take a look at what comes in the box. First off is the Bel Air body. That classic body. Now this looks pretty good. There is a little bit of cleanup to do on it. There's some body mold lines right in here that need to be cleaned up. A little bit up here on the roof. And I noticed there was a little bit in there too. That's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. A little sanding. Should be good to go. Here's your interior tub. Now the seat is kind of, the back is just kind of plain. There's not any kind of, well, there is a little bit of texture to it, but there's not much. The floor does have a kind of a carpet feel to it. And the door cards, well, they're kind of plain. But that's normal. That is totally normal for this age and style of kit. Here's your chassis with a molded in single exhaust like it would have been in 55. Not a whole lot to this. You know, if they're going to have a street rod version and they show pipes sticking out behind the exhaust pipes sticking out behind the front wheel, I hate when they mold in the exhaust system. If they're going to do something like that or give you that option, they should delete that and make that a separate piece that you attach. But that's in a perfect world, and we all know we don't live in a perfect world. Okay, now let's look at some of the styrene parts trees. First up, it's your drive shaft and your front cross members. This looks like it's going to have posable steering, which is fine. You don't have to have that. You can glue it in place, or you can leave it posable. Next one is the hood scoop like they show you on the box art. And your wheel pins along with wheel backs. Here's your front seat and dashboard. Next up is your hood, which needs some cleanup. Here's those wheels. The ones that are like on the box art. You think that those would have been chrome. No. No, they're not chrome. You have to paint them. That's okay. That gives you a lot of options, actually. Next up, license plate frames. And I was looking at these, I'm going, what the heck are these things? And they're armrests, but not for the front seat. These are armrests that go in the back seat area. Usually those are molded in, but this is kind of cool that they're separate. The last of the styrene trees, plural, I'm sorry, is most of your engine parts. And here's your posable steering parts here. And it gives you 3 levels. So you can do it really lowered in the front, stock height, or quasi, dare I say, gasser height. I don't think it'll push it up that high, but it will jack the front end up. And you know, I just recently did the 57 Nomad from Atlantis, and I think the 56 that I did just recently, both of those had the front axle for a gasser. So technically if I wanted to, I could turn this into a gasser, but I'm more apt to turn it into something kind of like the box art, but not quite like the box art. So that's it for the plain styrene. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. This thing has 1, 2, 3, let's put that like that, 4, 5 chrome trees. Like I said, it comes with a ton of chrome. And some 5-spoke mag wheels. Guess which wheels are going on this car, guys? It's going to be these, or it's going to be these. Some of you already know which ones are going on this car. If you've watched my channel enough, you already know. So you got a chrome intake and a nice looking chrome air cleaner. Window frame, stock grille. Gives you a couple of different bumpers. I'm assuming one is stock, one is not. Anyway, here's those chrome headers. Wow, can't speak today. And it does give you chrome rear axle and spring assembly, but it also gives you a, I showed you this just right here. It also gives you a styrene rear axle. So I guess if you're doing stock, you use that. If you want to do a kind of a custom or a street rod, you go with the chrome. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, and yeah. And it even gives you the ends. I don't know where the center is. I didn't see that. Oh, it's right here. Like the gasser style gas tank. That's pretty cool. So let me put these kind of off to the side here. Alright, gives you one steel axle. And here's your windows. Gives you your front and rear windows and also side windows, side back windows, and your 2 headlight lenses. And it gives you 2 different style of taillight lenses, stock or custom. Next up is that decal sheet. Now let's take a look at that up close. Gives you several sets of license plates, 3 different license plates, and then 3 different 1955 plates. Chrome flames if you want flames. Chrome flames. Blue flames. Gosh. Whew. Blue and orange flames. And if you want it to be a body shop car, there you go. Next up is your tires. Now it gives you a set of 4 that are white wall, or if you want to go black wall, these are Firestone branded. They are kind of solid, but they're hollow as well. And the standard bias ply tread. Next up is another set of 4 tires, but these are bigs and littles. They're no name brand. Bias ply tread. They're hollow. And like I said, bigs and littles. I know it's probably hard to see that on the camera, but that bottom tire is just ever so slightly larger than the top one. Last thing we need to look at is the instruction sheet. Now notice even the, let me open this up here. Even in the instruction sheet, it only shows the 2 different style tire wheels. The stocks or those custom ones that you have to paint. Alright, Well, that's what comes in the box, guys. Got a little bit of cleanup to do. Not bad. Just a little bit. Got some sub-assemblies to do, like the engine halves and things like that. And we'll head over to the paint booth. And I'm really having a tough time today. We're going to head over to the paint booth. I'm going to throw down some primer, and we're going to get started on this. So I'll see you at the paint booth. Alright fellas, I told you the last time I used this paint I was going to experiment and I was going to put it over white primer. I initially painted this car with the gray primer, but I taped it off in the section where I was going to use this white metallic, and I went with a coat of white primer over those sections, and now we're going to airbrush this white metallic onto this body. So let's get started. Alright fellas, I've skipped way ahead. You saw where I put the first clear coat on the body. I've got the interior all painted up and ready to go. With the seats, the dash, everything. The engine is all set to be installed. I went kind of in between, half and half. I went stock, but I put the chrome dress-up kit on it. But I'm still using the stock manifolds and exhaust system. So it's kind of half stock, half custom. So it's like the guy that owned this car, he just put a chrome dress-up kit on the engine. It's not a race car, it's still stock, but it's just got the chrome dress-up kit. As you can see laid out right here, I'm doing the front suspension. I've already got the rear axle installed. Now I went with the chrome axle on this because this car comes with two different rear axles. It comes with the chrome one, and it comes with one that you have to paint. And the one that I have to paint has been earmarked for another project, and that is in the process of being built as well. So I had to go with the chrome on this, and I figured because I'm doing this kind of not street rod racing kind of thing, but kind of a stock build, but it was kind of dressed up a little bit, I went with the chrome rear axle. Wow. So I just glued in the front cross member, and I've got that clamped, as you can see. I wasn't aware of it right away. It took me a second of like test fitting, but in this area on these front frame pieces, there's an area that has a little pin on each side, and on the cross member there's a coinciding hole. So you just got to kind of match them up, and once you do, you clamp it in place. I didn't see that initially because it was covered over with paint, and once I started test fitting it, that's when it kind of jumped out at me like, oh, there's pins and holes. I don't know why I didn't see it, but I didn't. But anyway, as you can see, I got the bottom all done up, and we're just waiting for the glue to set on that cross member, and then I can go ahead and start putting the rest of the front suspension pieces together. So that's where we're at. I'm going to be going with posable steering with this car. Normally, I kind of do normally anyway, but some guys out there don't like the posable steering, and it's not that I display these with the wheels turned or anything like that, but it's a nice feature, a nice option to have, so I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. About time for a new tube of glue. It's getting hard to get the glue out of it. Alright, I'll be right back. I'll get this front suspension put together. One other thing I want to point out, on your springs, on the one end there's a little step. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a little step there right on the end. Well, there's in this cross member, I don't know if I can, oh, they're covered up. Right, let me get something here to point with. Right in this area here, on each side, there's a half moon shape, and that's where that little step goes. And then the springs kind of arc over. And most of you guys will catch that, but I just told you that for the benefit of the folks that don't know. So don't beat me up in the comment section over that. A lot of the things I point out are for the folks that aren't aware of it. A lot of us veteran builders figure it out or know of it already. So it's nice to have a heads up, and that's what it's all about. Okay, I'll see you back in just a little bit. Alright fellas, I just finished up that front suspension, and let me give you a little bit of advice. First of all, the pins for the axles do not fit into these pieces here. Your I can't, the name escapes me, but anyway, these pins don't fit through those holes, so you have to drill out whatever hole at the corresponding height that you want it to be. Then you have to do the same thing to the wheels, because the pins don't fit in the wheels either. These wheels are not really part of this particular kit, but they are part of the 55 kit. They're just not, for whatever reason, you have to drill out the holes. But anyway, you want to put it together in this order. this piece here, glue it to the frame first. Clamp it, make sure that that glue is cured. Then you want to glue this piece on. It just glues onto this piece. So in this area here and here, and the corresponding areas on the bottom side of this, you want to make sure those are clean of paint. So once you get this glued in, like I told you just a little bit ago, this area right here, that little hole, clean that area off on each side and the corresponding spot on the frame, because there's a little pin that goes into that hole. So clean that off, glue this to the frame first. Make sure that this glue is pure, and then you want to glue this on. Just run a little bead of glue across those top edges and then clamp that down so that you have this piece. Oh, let me get some light on it. This piece glued to that first piece that you put on. After that has set, then you want to put in your springs. Remember, they have that notch and then a corresponding hole in the cross member. So once you get those in there, when you go to put the control arms on, now it doesn't tell you, it just says 36 and 37, and they don't tell you which side goes to what side. You kind of have to test fit it to figure it out. But there's two little pins here that go into two holes here, and then you want to clean out that area right there where the spring goes. Clean the paint out of there if you put any paint in it, and then put a dab of glue on your top of your spring, dab of glue on each pin, and then have this ready to go. Now I recommend putting the wheels on these before you glue them or put them in place, because otherwise that pin will just push in. You'll never get the freaking tire on. So and it even says that cement assembled wheels to axles at this time. In other words, do it before you put this piece, mount it into the cross members. So you have your wheels mounted to the pins first, and then set that in there. Put take your lower control arm, apply your glue, and set it down on there, and then this will allow, if you want, the wheels to turn. And that stupid tie rod keeps coming disconnected. Once it's sitting upright, that won't be a problem. But for right now, it just disconnects willy-nilly. That hole is just a little too big. But you could, if you wanted, and it doesn't say to do that here, but if you wanted to, you could take a hot knife or something, and once you put this together and melt the ends of those pins, these pins here, just kind of mash them down a little bit, and that'll keep that from falling off again. So that is the sequence that you want to do it in. Get this on, put this on, do the same thing on the other side. Last thing you want to attach is your tie rod. Once that's set, just let it sit, let that glue cure, and the front suspension will be done. That's the best order that I found to do it. In the directions, they don't give you any step, how to do it. So that's how I found to do it, and you can do it that way if you wish, or you can do it any way you wish, actually. But that's it. The wheels are done on the front, and like I said, that stupid tie rod keeps popping off of the popping off that pin. There we go. And now let me roll it over. Now I have posable wheels, and it popped off again. So okay, maybe I'm gonna have to melt that on there. That shouldn't have popped off again. Gravity should have taken over there. All right, there we go. Oh, it locked up. There we go. You get the you get the gist of it, guys. All right, let's get on to the next step. I think it's the interior. Got to get that finished up yet, and I still have to put a couple more clear coats on the body, and then we're off to the bare metal foil. All right, fellas, as I mentioned earlier, the wheels that I'm using are from a different version of this kit. We all know that. Also, in the direction sheet I pointed out earlier, it doesn't show the use of those wheels. It just shows the use of the stock chrome hubcap kind of wheels and the ones that are just plain plastic that you have to paint. So there's no mention of these wheels whatsoever. Now, with that being said, and my use of these, let me point out something that is pretty obvious. If you look at this wheel and you look at this wheel, now these are different depth because they go on a bigger tire. So it's obvious that these go to the front and these go to the rear. What I want to point out is, oh, where the heck can I put that? Right here. This has a center cap. This one does not. Not molded in. The center cap is available. It's just not molded in. Why? I have no idea. But if you look on this parts tree, you go over here. Now I've already cut them out, and I'll show you those caps in a minute. It's part number 17. They're both part number 17. And they go right here. And here they are. Those two little caps. So if you are building this kit, or have built this kit, and you were wondering why these wheels were available and they didn't have any center caps, well, they did. They're just right there. So I'm going to go ahead and attach those. I'm going to use a little Mod Podge to do it. The reason for that is the axle that is supplied in the kit is too short to work with these wheels. So I had to make my own. And I made my own out of this 16 gauge wire. I just cut off a section. Now it's curved, obviously, but it's very pliable, and if you work on it a little bit, you can get that pretty much totally straight. You know, I just kind of messed around with it just now, and it's kind of straight, but if I work with it, I can get that straight, and I can cut that to any length that I need. And that's what I did with this. So it's just 16 gauge wire. You can find that anywhere. I got it at Menards. So I'm going to put a little bit of this Mod Podge down in that hole. Now the wheels are on there. They're not going anywhere. But I want to put a little bit more glue down inside that hole to help hold that axle inside that wheel, because I can still turn the wheel, I can still turn the entire tire without moving the axle. That tells me that what I glued it in with last night did not work. So I'm going to pack a little bit of glue down in that hole, and I'm going to slap that cap on it, and Bob's your uncle. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, I just readjusted the camera angle a little bit so I can see what I'm doing without banging my head into the camera. So I'm just going to kind of inject some of this glue in here. And the leftover is going to hold. Alright, fellas. There you go. Can't see? What did I tell you? That's the cap for the rear wheel. Alright, let's get on, let me get the other side done. We'll get on to finishing up the interior, and I got to get over to the paint booth. I want to shoot another coat or two of clear on the body, and we'll be all set to go. Alright fellas, I went ahead and got my bare metal foil put on my dash. I don't know if you can see that. Hold on a second. Whoop. You can see that there. Now, this kit does not come with any kind of gauge decals or anything like that, but it just so happens that I'm working on another AMT 55 Chevrolet. It's the Nomad, and they have a wonderful decal sheet, and in that decal sheet, if you look right down here, well, they have two sets of dash decals. So I'm going to borrow a set of dash decals from this decal sheet and put it in this Bel Air. Now that 55 Nomad is coming soon, so make sure, if you haven't subscribed yet, you hit that subscribe button so that you're made aware of when that video comes to the channel. So let me get that taken care of real quick, and the dashboard will be all set to go, and we're about ready to put the interior together. I'll be right back. Alright fellas, got the interior completed, got the armrests in, decals in the dash. I admit that that isn't as straight as I'd like it to have been, but I did it freehand, and well, it didn't turn out that well. Also, I got the engine and everything installed, and this is like an engine cradle, or yeah, I think that's what it is. It's supposed to be like an engine cradle. They don't have a cross member in this kit, so you just have to glue the transmission. There's a little piece right in that general area on the chassis that you have to glue the transmission to. Also, in order for me to get the pin in the hole up here, I had to modify the drive shaft. At this end, I had to file up about 1/16 of an inch, so the drive shaft would sit a little bit further back and allow the engine to sit in the spot where it's supposed to go. So, like I said, there's no cross member here. I think in the 55, the actual one-to-one car, the transmission mounts are here, and they just bolt on the side of the transmission, if I recall correctly. I may be incorrect, but I believe that's how they went. They bolted here instead of back here, like in later cars. Okay, well, let's head on back over to the paint booth. I want to put a couple of coats of clear on that body yet. You can see it's sitting right here, just waiting for some more clear to be applied. Let's get that done, and we'll work on the bare metal foil, and then on to the rest of the steps, final assembly and everything like that. I'll see you over there. Welcome to the final on this 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air Sedan by AMT. Now this car sums up the last of my Tri-Five Chevys. Now I admit that I did them kind of out of order, starting with that 57 Bel Air from Atlantis back in May of last year. Recently I decided to finish the series with the recent release of the 56 Bel Air, and now with this 55. So in effect I did do them in order, but they were done in reverse order. So this car here went together without a hitch all the way up to the final assembly of the chassis to the body. And that's where I hit a snag. For whatever reason, the frame didn't want to sit all the way down on, into the slots of the body in the front where the bumper mounts. To fix this, I had to glue the rear of the chassis to the body, and once that had cured, I was able to glue and clamp the frame rails into the front in their proper position. I checked everything over to make sure everything was in the proper place before I glued it together, and everything was right where it should have been. So the only thing I can figure is there must have been a little bit of warp in the chassis that I hadn't noticed prior to the final assembly. Overall, this is a great kit, and I had a lot of extra parts, and the mag wheels was a great and unexpected addition to the box. So I was thinking I was going to have to build it kind of like the box art or with the stock hubcaps, and I really like the 5-spoke mag wheels. Now as far as the paint goes, that metallic white paint, I did that on the 56 Bel Air, and it turned out kind of silver looking. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, I was going to do it over white primer, which I did do, and it did turn out more of a pearl white than a silver kind of looking color. Now the Tuscan Red started out as a matte finish, and as you can see, it's quite shiny. The addition of the pearl powder in the second coat of clear turned it into a metallic, and it really kind of made it pop. Now there are 3 coats of clear on this. The first coat was regular clear coat, the second was with the mica powder, and a third was just regular clear coat, which I did not show in the video, but there are 3 coats on there. Well guys, another great build is done. I hope you enjoyed this build video. If you did, please consider clicking that thumbs up and the hype buttons. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. Of course, all of this helps the algorithm to share my content, which helps the channel grow. If you have any questions or comments, please write those in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to respond to you as soon as possible. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, or you can drop me a line at scaleoutaguy@gmail.com. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button below, and make sure to click on the bell icon and select the all option so that you'll be notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching Scale Out a Guy's Workbench, and I'll see you on the next build.